but the weepers are the problem. We sat here yesterday, we saw the entire track look like it was dry, looked like it was race ready. But down in turn 1, over the tunnel, in turns 3, the little cracks that Parker talks about where water pressure builds up from the water table and it seeps up through. Now, a lot of people don't know, even if you're sitting here in the grandstands, off of behind turn 1 in the short chute over there, there's a marsh area, a swampy type area. So the water table on this end of the racetrack is higher anyhow. So with the rain that we've had, it seeps up through those cracks. Now, we talk about weepers all the time. If you want to know what a weeper is, just walk out in your driveway if you've got a paved driveway. Most driveways will have a place where the water bubbles up through the asphalt. You'll be driving down the highway, and even when the lane of the highway begins to dry out, there'll be wet spots certain areas. Now, that doesn't affect you leaving your driveway or driving down the highway. With a race car going off in these corners, it's like hitting black ice. You don't really see it. It comes up on you so quick, and it doesn't take but a little bit of water to take that right front and just slide it up the racetrack. We've seen cars in the past in Michigan, other places where we've experienced weepers who have gotten in trouble as the race goes on, and they continue. They may weep for days up here with the amount of rain we've had. So it's really important that they do exactly what Parker said, cut the asphalt, relieve that pressure, try to give that water someplace to go to alleviate the weeper issue. But the track can be dry as far as looking at it, but where the weepers are is critical. If they're in the corners, it's a no-go for NASCAR.
Well, I know some of the fans are weeping right along with the track. But glass half full, glass half empty. If we're not racing, that is one thing, but it means we're also talking to a whole lot of drivers. You've already heard from champions like Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon. We'll have more here from Pocono when we return. Countdown to Green is brought to you by Sonic. Your favorites come together in the new $5 Sonic Boombox.
500 degrees, 40 below, and protection for 15,000 miles. Mobil 1. Energy lives here.
The Rio Olympics opening ceremony, August 5th, 7:30, 6:30 Central on NBC.
I was shaped by the hands of legacy, forged in the fires of racing. The truth is, what you're made of is what you're made to do.
Sir, this alien life form is growing at an alarming rate.
Growing fast, you say?
We can't contain it anymore.
You know, that reminds me of how Geico's been the fastest growing auto insurer for over 10 years straight.
Over 10 years?
Mm-hmm. Geico's the company your friends and neighbors trust.
And deservedly so.
Indeed.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
$5 Sonic Boombox gives you a lot for $5.
Yeah, man, Abraham Lincoln would be really proud of this.
Right. Oh, because he's on the $5 bill.
That's exactly where I was going with that, actually.
Yeah. And he was an honest guy, and this is an honest deal. And he created the boombox.
Oh, no, you were so close.
Yeah. My fellow countrymen, are you ready to get funky? Play.
Try the loaded cheddar dogs, part of the new $5 Sonic Boombox, featuring a hot dog, junior cheeseburger, side, and a drink. This is how you Sonic.
U.S. Cellular's national coverage lets you chat, browse, and stream in the middle of anywhere. And that's a good thing.
Hi.
Most of the time.
I'll call you back in a bit.
U.S. Cellular.
EC.
In just 4 days, the world's best athletes will come together in Rio de Janeiro to compete for their country and Olympic gold. The opening ceremony of the 2016 Olympic Games, Friday at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on the networks of NBC Universal. We will all be watching, but we will also still be racing. Here is where you can find us and the races during the Olympics. From here, we go to Watkins Glen on CNBC. We'll see you on the USA Network before returning to Nbcsn in Bristol. Speaking of the USA Networks, we're getting a little Love on the track from David Reagan. There you see David Reagan. We had a lot of fun with him on the coverage yesterday. Also, Matt DiBenedetto. So we will see you on USA when NASCAR is racing during the Olympics. I know Kyle Petty is excited for men's gymnastics. Those guys are athletes.
Yes, they are.
Man, but you have actually been to the Olympics, sort of. You have Olympic experience.
Oh, look at me right here.
I know. This is what, 2002?
That's when my hair was dark. Yeah. Is that 2002?
2002.
I still have that the sweatsuit there. I ran the that's the torch. We did the thing for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola had a lot of their people run the torch, and I was very fortunate and have that torch. Still like my grill with it. So it still works.
And we would be remiss if we didn't mention that our Rutledge Wood and Kelly Stavist are in Rio. They'll be covering the Olympics for us here on the NBC network. So we're missing them in Pocono, but we know they're having a lot of fun.
On the beach.
Rio. Nobody has been tougher to beat this season, it seems, Kyle, than those Toyota drivers. Martin Truex on the pole in a Toyota for this race in Pocono. They have won, Toyota drivers, 10 of the 20 races this season. That is unbelievable. And that includes the big ones, the Daytona 500, the Coca-Cola 600, and the Brickyard. And check out this percentage. In the last 2 races, led over 95% of the laps. Just dominating. But one thing we have talked about, there are some other drivers in the mix here at Pocono who could give Toyota a run for their money. That's not something that the driver with Marty Snyder wants to hear.
Well, Carl Edwards would love to be the guy who gets out front in the Toyota. He starts second when we do finally get the race going, which we're going to get going today. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But we just saw how good Toyota has been this year. What's been the difference, Carl?
I don't know. I can't point to one thing. I can just say that TRD, Toyota, all of the teams, JGR, Martin, we've just been working well together. It's a great group of people. It seems like every meeting, no matter what the issue is, everybody rallies together, and it's just a really competitive group that works well together. And I think that's really the key.
I think last year in your first year, it kind of blew you away, the openness really in the meetings, correct? You were kind of like, wow, we're all sharing this much?
Yeah, it was really cool for me. I knew how good Matt Kenseth was. I'd worked with Matt before, but to sit in the meeting with Denny and Kyle, I'd only been competitors of theirs. And so to sit in the meeting and hear how they approach things, it's spectacular. I mean, we have such a good group of guys, and Martin being involved is huge, and it's fun. I mean, I look forward to the Tuesday meetings.
Let's talk about the toughness on the drivers here, because you have to mentally get ramped up for a race, then kind of bring it down once again. How difficult is it for you to get it pumped back up for the race on Monday?
I mean, this is the toughest part, sitting around and waiting. We talked about the bicycle. I got my bike here. I think if we wait one more day, I'll officially have more miles on my bike here at Pocono than the car. But it's what we do is we sit here and we've got nice motorhomes. We've got a place to hang out. We've got the bicycles. We've got our group texting. It's pretty entertaining. Brian Scott sent a pretty funny picture this morning of a motorhome in a lake. Said I'm leaving, but I just hope we get the race in. We had a ton of fans here yesterday. They had a great crowd. On my bike ride, I talked to a lot of them. Yeah. I know exactly where my fans are here, and I know where the people are that don't like me. I made enough laps. I've got that figured out. So yeah, hopefully we can get in the car.
All right, let's put you on the spot. Let's see how many miles you did yesterday. Your goal was 10 miles yesterday. What'd you do?
Yes, it ended up 17.9. I saw Chad out there, and then I saw Jimmy. I think Jimmy ran at least 17, and then he biked 50 or 80 miles. But it got kind of competitive. I looked I've got this little mirror, and I saw Chad coming from behind. And I thought, man, I got to go here, and so put a couple extra miles on it. But the guys from Scott are really nice. They gave me a really nice bike there, and truly, if it wasn't for that, I'd be going crazy in the motorhome.
Speaking of that, bicycle, and then we just talked about the Olympics. What's your favorite Olympic sport? I know you're excited that it's coming up this week.
Well, just seeing anybody perform at that level is crazy, and the fact that we race every week. They've got to wait 4 years to race, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Dean Golich, my trainer from Carmichael Training Systems, he has a couple of athletes there cycling, so I'll be watching the cycling stuff. And I really hope they do well. I get to hear the inside scoop, all the nerves that go on. Everybody's, there's a lot of pressure there at the Olympics.
Opening ceremonies, of course, Friday night, and that's the amazing part. You get to run the Daytona 500 every year. They have to wait 4. Could you imagine waiting 4 years for your shot to do what you do best?
No, that's it's just like anything. It's most likely the mental part that is the toughest. And talking with Dean and the folks at CTS, they try to prepare everybody mentally as best they can. You put in the physical work, and then it comes down to the race. And I can't imagine what it would be like to make a mistake or to to have a bad day and then have to wait 4 more years or maybe never get the opportunity. So I have a lot of respect for all the athletes there. I think that, it'd be fun to watch them perform.
You're a pilot. You pointed out the ceiling seems to be lifting, so are you optimistic we're going to get this in today?
I actually reached for my Wiley X's, so it's getting brighter, ceiling's lifting. Some interesting weather patterns here. I don't understand it, but I don't know what to expect. But it is getting better. We've got folks sitting in the grandstands. They say the track will be ready at 1:30 or something, maybe before, so hopefully we get to go race.
I can confirm, though, no truth to the rumor that Carl's going to be in the Olympics on the bicycle. He did make 17 miles yesterday. That's more than we could do, right, guys?
And it's crazy that even when they're not racing, thanks, Marty, they're still racing each other, even if it's on bikes around the track.
Yeah, I don't think it started as a race, if you listen to Carl, but it got competitive with each other. You see Jimmy run, you see Chad out on the bike. It's like, I can go farther, and they just kept gutting it out to see who could be the last man standing.
And Carl starts on the front row alongside Martin Truex Jr., who is like a teammate in that Furniture Row racing organization. And if you follow the sport, there have been rumblings of Furniture Row getting ready to start a second team.
Yeah, that's the rumor mill, and we've heard it a lot. And we heard Denny Hamlin yesterday in pre-race when he spoke of having Martin Truex and having Cole Pearn and those guys in the meetings, and that they're very open and very receptive to anything that those drivers say, and it's an open book both ways and back. I think when we look at how the Furniture Row team has run and where they've run over the last couple of years, this is not something to be taken lightly. They established themselves as a contender, have run up front, have had opportunities to win the championship. Now they decide to grow, which is, you got to give it to Barney and those guys. That's a great way to plan. But when you look at it, the rumor seems to be that it's one of the Gibbs, Xfinity drivers. And where else are those guys going to go? When you've got a lineup like Gibbs has and like Toyota has at Gibbs Racing, they've got to put their younger drivers somewhere. And you've got Daniel Suarez, you've got Eric Jones, you've got drivers in the pipeline in the Toyota group. And I think one of those drivers or some of those guys would be a huge asset at the Cup level. We talk about them winning 10 of the 20 races we've run so far. And I asked Russell here, Buick won 25 out of 30 back in 1982, so this is not unprecedented, even though we see a manufacturer come in. But Toyota has built a strong base, engine-wise, team-wise, and driver-wise, and they're finally getting to that point where they can put their drivers where they want them to be.
Way to put the pressure on Toyota with that.
Toyota.
Martin Truex will lead the field to green. The green flag so much better than green on the radar. 4 previous times here in Pocono, the race has been run on a Monday, including last June. Kurt Busch won that one. In fact, his last 3 wins have had weather in the mix. Denny Hamlin won on a Monday in 2009. When we return, Rick Allen, Jeff Burton, and Steve Letarte, our fearless 3, get you ready to race 3 different corners. NASCAR racing on NBC Sports from Pocono on a Monday. Thanks for joining us.
This has been NASCAR Countdown to Green, served by Sonic. Let's go racing.
I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about racing with you guys in the Poconos.
Me too. All of us driving with the Mobile One hood.
But even better, I booked us all Cupid suites at the Paradise Dreams Motel. Free chocolates, heart-shaped tubs, satin sheets. I can't wait.
The Rio Olympics opening ceremony, August 5th, 7:30, 6:30 Central on NBC.
My brother and I have always been rivals. We would dream about racing each other in Monaco. We were born brothers. Competition made us friends. Wish bold in a 2017 Camry. Toyota, let's go places.
Just gotta reach the check.
I can't reach it.
If you have alligator arms, you avoid picking up the check.
What?
That's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
Oh, that is good, crispy duck.
Step up to our great big network and see what we got. Bust a move to Cricket Wireless and get the LG Spree for free after $20 mail-in rebate Cricket Visa promotion card. Don't sweat it, just get it. Cricket Wireless, something to smile about.
Thanks for this Oreo caramel shake, Kara.
Can't believe you ordered all these shakes.
Yeah.
And how do you know her name?
Oh, I kind of have nicknames for everybody based upon my order.
Caramel, Kara.
Yeah. Holly for jalapeno chocolate.
That's
and
great.
Janine for peanut butter.
Why Janine for peanut butter?
Because she reminds me of my ex-girlfriend Janine, who was nuts.
She was crazy.
23 hand-mixed real ice cream shakes, all half price after 8 p.m. This is how you Sonic.
Welcome back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. If we wouldn't have glass between us, Krista literally could have just tossed it to us because they're about 10 feet away from us in a booth right next door. But we are back at Pocono and hoping to see racing today on a Monday. And we appreciate those of you that are multitasking today. If you're at work and maybe you're watching on your computer, we're glad that you're able to join us today here at Pocono. Alongside Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton, I'm Rick Allen. And guys, you've been through this many, many times. As a crew chief, you had an extra night to look at your notes, figure out, okay, what kind of strategy can I play? As a driver, you just had a lot of stuff going through your head about how can I be perfect, again, on all the restarts that are going to take place here, and this place is crazy for restarts. But how difficult is it as a driver to come back the next day to try to race?
Well, you just want to race. You want to get the race in. You know, you've practiced, you've qualified, you've done all the things you need to do, you've prepared throughout the week, and now you just want to get the race in so you can go see if everything you've done was right, what improvements you made through practice and overnight. So you just want to get it going, understand exactly what you have, and then also for a driver, you know, Mondays, Tuesdays, you start getting onto the next race. You know, mentally you start thinking about the next race. Well, now you're still on this race, so you want to just start that normal process.
Well, I think the crew chiefs have probably spent their evening looking forward to the next race at Watkins Glen. Remember, they've lost a day in the shop now to prepare for Watkins Glen. The cars have been impounded, so there's no chance to change the setup. You mentioned strategy, Rick. I'm sure they went back through the last few races here. Strategy is always very important at Pocono, but you get a little stir crazy, to be honest, because you don't have a setup you can adjust. You don't have a car you can work on, so you try to fill your time with productive tasks and not just make it idle time.
And Steve, as a team leader, you used to obviously lead the team for the 88 team, but as a team leader, your guys expected to be off on Monday. This was their day off where they could kind of, you know, recharge the batteries and then get ready for the next race, as you mentioned. What does that do to a team, kind of the morality of the team, when they're stuck at a racetrack and you've got gloomy skies above?
Well, the one thing's for sure is that garage area is full of racers, and they want to get out, they want to compete, and they want to be on the racetrack trying to win. But this is difficult. Most of them have families back home in Charlotte or wherever they live, so to not be around on a Monday to take your kids to the park or whatever you're going to do is definitely a challenge, because the honest truth is, with this loss of a day, the teams aren't going to lose a lot of preparation as much as the employees and the team members are going to lose their day off. That's just the world of NASCAR, because no matter if we like it, don't like it, the truth is on Friday morning, the gates will drop in Watkins Glen, practice will be on again, but first we have to get Pocono in.
Yeah, remember, it's summer, so a lot of these guys, their kids are out of school, so this is the time where they kind of use the summer. Although they do work all throughout the summer, they do have the Monday or the Tuesday off, and that allows them to reconnect with their families, and that's real important to keep. You know, these guys work so hard, they've gone from home so much. Being able to get them home to spend a day with their families is really important, and this definitely cuts into that.
Let's go down to Parker Kligerman. I believe he's caught up with Matt DiBenedetto.
That I have. And Matt, we have to talk a little bit about USA Network. It's on your car this week. We're heading to Watkins Glen, where it's going to be on USA Network. But what a better place to come from, which is this place, Pocono, where you get to shift, you get to brake hard, to practice for somewhere like Watkins Glen.
Yeah, absolutely. This place is a blast, man. It's so much fun. Didn't treat us too well the last race because we cut a tire, hit the wall, had a really good car. But yeah, I get to practice my shifting. I can do it in turn 1 and turn 3, sometimes in the tunnel if I'm brave and we're in traffic. So getting all prepared. But yeah, glad to have USA Network on the car so we can promote it and make sure the fans know to tune in next week at Watkins Glen on USA Network, not NBC Sports.
You're really good at that. Maybe you deserve this job.
Thanks.
Take over right quick. I actually want to talk about how you practice for here as well, which was you spent a lot of time at the slick track here. Maybe you said about 300 laps?
Yeah, it was about 300 or so. I thought that was a fair amount to run the other night. It was Saturday night. I thought the race was going to be yesterday, so I practiced really hard on my slide jobs. You know, slick track, so I was dive bombing people, slide jobbing them, knocking them out of the way. That's what you do here, right?
Same exact thing. That's how I passed you one time, I believe, at Homestead.
Yeah, so I was just practicing. So if you see me going to turn 1 on the initial start and I pass like we're not starting well, so 34th. So if you see me pass about 33 cars getting into one in the slide job, you'll know it was that 300 laps of practice I had on Saturday night at Slick Track.
And I actually want to pump you up and look back at a great moment from this year. You finished 6th at Bristol. Just take us back to that moment, and as you look here, what's on the screen right now, kind of describe how this felt to get that 6th place and also how this pumps you up going into the day.
Man, that was cool watching back. That was an incredible day. Gosh, I wish I could go back and relive it. It was neat having my family there. My brother was there in town from the military. My wife was there, so it was perfect. Man, it was cool. Such a neat day for not for myself, but for the team. Even they worked so hard, so that was cool. Since then, though, I'm not sure what happened. We used up all of our luck, and I've cut tires, blown tires. That's some engine issues, and not due to. It's been like just crazy stuff happening that I'm not sure how it's happened, but hopefully we can get back on track. These guys deserve it, and the cool thing is when you have great days like that, your team's gonna be happy, upbeat, excited. It's when you have the rough days that define your team, and we've had some really rough luck. Had great cars at some races. Kentucky, I mean, a top 15 car, cut a tire, hit the wall, but my guys still stay upbeat and behind me, and that's cool. So I hope we get back on track for them.
Speaking of good cars, actually, I was speaking to some of your team, and they said that they'd actually built some new cars that you unveiled at Loudon and showed a lot of speed. Just talk about for BK Racing, being a smaller team, being able to make new cars like that and make development advances that hopefully move you up the grid.
Yeah, they've been working their butts off, man. Unfortunately, some of the reason we had to build some new cars is because we, due to some, have cutting tires, running over things, having that luck, it's wrecked quite a few of our race cars, so we've had to build some new ones. But it's a good thing, get new cars, new bodies, not the way we want to do it, but yeah, New Hampshire is a brand new car that we unloaded there and qualified 16th. So for us, that was a great deal of speed. So they're working really hard, and so we show that speed, and we have that speed, and in some of these races we've had really good cars. We drive up through the field and then have some, crazy luck. You've been through it too. We were talking about this the other day. It happens. You get on these streaks of luck where every week you're like, all right, we'll go get them next week, and then before you know it, it's 3 weeks of bad luck, then 6, then 8, and you're like, what's going on? And you just want it for these guys, but it's going to turn around.
It's Matt DiBenno, hoping that Slick Track experience pays off later today. Mike?
Well, thank you, Parker. Everybody talking about a little bit of luck, and Regan Smith included. My camera guy, Fig, actually just rummaged through the grass here and found a couple of 4-leaf clovers, which Regan was nice enough to put on my shoulder, so hopefully that'll bring us all the luck. We need to get back on the racetrack. Do you think it'll work?
I hope so. I think everybody's going just a little bit stir crazy at this point, and sitting in the motorhomes, playing with their kids. We saw puddles, everything else yesterday. There's more puddles today, so we want to get racing. We want to get this thing in for the fans that have been sitting here and spending a couple days at the racetrack with us, and we'll see what happens this afternoon.
So it's interesting, just listening to Matt DiBenedetto. He said he's practicing his slide jobs, and he might use it on guys who start ahead of him. You're a couple rows in front. Concerned?
If he's actually doing the slide jobs, that means we're racing. I'm okay with that at that point, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But a little better trip for the Tommy Baldwin racing APC Chevy this time here. We struggled last time here and kind of figured a few things out just a little bit better for the race. So cautiously optimistic about that. I know I wore out all my Toy State toys in there. Me and Rhett have basically played with every single one of them that we have, and he's starting to want different ones now. So we're gonna have to go to the store and buy some more of them here soon.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Certainly hope these 4-leaf clovers work out for both of us.
Yeah, it's just the NBC camera guys are pretty good. He stood here with one eye on the camera, the other eye, he picked those out of the grass. I don't know how he did it. It was impressive, and hopefully they work for us later.
We're going to let Regan go back in the motor coach and play with some more toys, Krista.
Actually, I'm going to grab it, if I may. And we'll talk a little bit about, we've chatted with 34 different drivers now of the 40-car field. That's including yesterday, as well as the drivers we've spoken with today. But different, obviously, strategies, as we just heard with Matt DiBenedetto, a driver who, he was ecstatic and emotional at getting a 6th-place finish at Bristol and talking about how they want to finish in the top 15. I want to look at the chase standings. Another strategy that takes place is very important right now because there's only 6 races to go before we get to the playoffs. This cut line and the guys in points right now are worried about getting into the top 16.
Yeah, no question. And then on top of that, if we have a new winner between now and the end of Richmond, that completely turns everything upside down. But if you look at Ryan Blaney down in 20th, the last few weeks have not been good for that team. They've worked themselves down. They need to start having good races. Trevor Bayne needs to start having good races. Obviously, you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. is still in there, not that far away, but going to miss today's race. That's going to move him further down. So the pressure is really starting to build, and I think we saw some of that at Indy. Go back and think about Indy, a lot of those drivers in those chase spots ended up being in wrecks, and I think that is them needing to push, knowing they've got to get good finishes.
Well, Jeff, you mentioned Indy. If we go back to last week, these cars had good runs going, but you have to finish out those good runs, Rick, and that's the concern. You're riding along here with Ryan Blaney late in the race, an accident in front of him, none of his doing, runs into another chase contender, the 31 of Ryan Newman. How about the 6? Trevor Bayne gets in an accident. The 1 tries to fill that hole getting into turn 1, gets turned around by Tony Stewart. You know, this sounds simple, but they only pay points in the last lap. And there's a lot of issues from the start to the finish of these races you have to manage, you have to deal with. Opportunities to gain points, but a lot of opportunities to lose points. And these drivers around that chase line, around that chase bubble, have got to know some cars are getting in on points. They're going to have to chase those points for the next 6 weeks.
The anticipation continues to build as we get ready for racing. This is a great sign. They're starting to move the cars from the garage to pit road. We didn't even see that yesterday, so things looking up at Pocono.
Welcome to our NASCAR America studios. I'm Dave Briggs alongside Parker Kligerman. The Tricky Triangle, 3 unique turns based on 3 different tracks. Take us on a lap around Pocono and what makes them so tricky.
Well, you head down this front straightaway, which is the longest front straightaway in NASCAR. Over 200 miles an hour as you get to that first corner, and then you're going to get hard on the brake. One of the hardest braking corners we have at a track this large. You're then going to get down to the middle and downshift very late, which can unsettle the car a lot. That can be very treacherous when you're side by side. From there, you're back in the throttle hard, heading towards turn 2, the tunnel turn. It's also supposed to be reminiscent of Indianapolis, but I say supposed to be because it looks nothing like it. And in the center, there's a bump. That adds to the craziness. Now you're back in the throttle again, heading to the flattest portion of the racetrack, turn 3, where you try to get in a little bit late. The car gets very loose, and as you get to the exit, you have to guide and slide and drift the car to the wall as it heads back on the front straightaway.
And that one based on the Milwaukee Mile. Let's get back now to Pocono Raceway.
Advance Auto Parts.
Hey, Gary, I heard you switched to Geico.
Yeah, saved money and got a lot more.
More?
24/7 access to licensed agents.
I guess more is more.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Step up to our great big network and see what we got. Bust a move to Cricket Wireless and get the LG Spree for free after $20 mail-in rebate Cricket Visa promotion card. Don't sweat it, just get it. Cricket Wireless, something to smile about.
Want to dominate your fantasy football draft? Go to rotoworld.com to get your fantasy football draft guide. Customizable cheat sheets, position rankings, extensive player outlooks, and more. rotoworld.com. Dominate your draft. NBC.
It is normally a very beautiful area in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. A lot of water, and we've seen quite a bit of that over the past couple days. We're looking forward to racing in the Pocono Mountains from Pocono Raceway, and we want to go trackside to Marty Snyder.
And I found the one guy, Rick, who's actually happy it rained out yesterday. That would be Roger Penske, because he was in Mid-Ohio yesterday calling the race for Elio Castroneves. Congratulations. Big win for Simon Pagenaud. Seems like you're shaping up to a very good championship battle over there between Will Power and Simon Pagenaud.
Well, I got to keep these guys out of each other's way. Yesterday it was a little tight, but cars are running well. I think we're in a great position this year. Executing last year, we didn't get the wins we wanted, but so far so good.
Any question for you when you did have an opportunity like this, because this would have been your day day off to come here and spend time with the Sprint Cup Series guys?
Well, I like to, as you know, I love the Sprint Cup Series, and no question to support our guys is important. Day in and day out, so many of these guys come here so many weekends, and I try to make it, but when we got the IndyCar races, I'm committed to Elio, so I can't make it, but I'm looking forward to today, and, you know, Pocono is one of my home tracks.
That's right, it is one of your home tracks. Where will you watch the race from? Because you used to watch from the spotter stand, then you couldn't watch up there for a while, so now where do you watch races from?
Well, I'm going to sneak up to the spotter stand today, see if I can find my own spot up there. Nobody will be up there maybe today, and I can get a chance, because I guess I'm like a fan. I like to be able to see what's going on. Seeing them go by the pit box every day doesn't do too much for me, so I say who's standing on the gas, who's competitive, and who isn't.
Well, and sometimes that wisdom, you're not shy about speaking on the radio and talking to the drivers.
Well, I've learned there's a lot more going on that I need to stick my nose into, so I stay out of it.
Exactly right. So, Team Penske overall, where do you feel like you are right now on the NASCAR side of things, and what do you want to get better as the chase comes up?
Well, I think, you know, Brad with 4 wins certainly is formidable, and Joey won the All-Star race and has another win, so I think we're in good shape. I think Joe Gibbs's cars are fast, there's no question about it, along with the 78. They've done their homework, but listen, there's a long way to the end of the season here. I like where we are. We're going to get better. We got stuff coming down the pike for the chase, so hopefully we'll be more competitive.
And the good news is Joey Logano just changed. He went out to the car, Rick. Brad Keselowski changing up here. He's heading out to the car, so the drivers certainly getting ready. But glad to have Roger Penske here on a Monday afternoon race.
Absolutely. A lot of success taking place not only in the IndyCar Series but also here in the Cup Series for Team Penske. We want to bring in a 23-year-old out of Halifax, Virginia, and that would be Jeb Burton is going to join us now. We've given him a microphone, so we want to talk to Jeb a little bit about what's taking place and what did you do in the evening between the Sunday planned race and now a Monday race, Jeb?
I've been hanging out a lot, watching movies on TV, but I'm actually eating all of Jeff's food again in his bus, so it's nice to have his bus right here behind me.
Jeb, as you walk in on the right, there's a jar. That's called a donation jar.
Yeah.
And I know that you don't really, normally you don't open your wallet and pull stuff out, but in this occasion, just drop a little in for me.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of going to give you some bad news. Your bus has got a little leak in there, and your bus driver's in there trying to fix it right now, so I don't know if you knew that or not. So he's in there trying to fix a little bit of a leak. I did not do that, so I won't have to pay for that one.
Jeff, that's what we call a weeper.
Yeah.
And right now, by the way, right now Jeff is weeping as you tell him that there's a leak in his bus too.
Oh no, I've known it. It's been there for 3 nights.
All right.
I like the sound. You know how you sleep better with the sound of water? Yeah, just let it roll.
Yeah, like a tin roof or something. But hopefully we can get this race going today. You know, it's been raining for 2 days now. I've almost been here 5 days now. I didn't pack enough clothes. I'll have to go to the laundromat tonight if it rains out again. But hopefully we can get going. Got Erie insurance on the car, and hopefully we can go have a decent day today.
So is your mother going to be surprised that you know how to do laundry?
I actually have to do my own laundry.
Oh, really?
So at my apartment, I do a lot of my own laundry, but I like it when I go home back to Virginia and my mom does my laundry for me.
Well, actually, Jeb, I want to talk about really the entire year. You know, these drivers we've talked about, they've had to sit around and wait for this race to start, but your year's kind of been that way. Started with a great opportunity for Richard Petty Motorsports in the Xfinity Series. That opportunity has kind of gone away. You found some other opportunities on Saturday and also driving on Sunday. How has the year been with the ups and downs and expectations of being on the racetrack?
Well, thanks, Steve. You know, it's been a rough year, to tell you the truth. We started off with Richard Petty Motorsports, and we had, you know, some solid runs, and we're getting better every week with a brand new team. We're about to be 10th in points. We're going to solidly be in the chase, and you know, the sponsor didn't do what they said they were going to do, and you know, it really was a bad deal. So I've actually got a couple things working in the pipeline. You know, working with Biaggi Dembessi Racing. We went to Indy last week, had a good race, and had Estes Express on board. Rocky Ridge Trucks were on board too, and got to appreciate their support. It's been a crazy year, and appreciate Go Fast Racing giving me the opportunity to race here on Sunday today. But you know, we're going to keep digging, and hopefully, you know, some good things are in the future.
So, Jeb, we spend a lot of time on Sundays talking about Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick and all the guys that, you know, we see run up front every week. Explain to everybody how difficult it is and how hard you have to work to try to get yourself in a position so you can be one of those guys.
You know, it is tough. You know, with what we're doing today, we're in a little bit different race. We're racing different guys. We're not going to be racing Jimmy Johnson today, unfortunately. You know, we just got to go do our own deal and beat the guys that we're supposed to beat today. And that's our goal, to go do that. Last time we were here, we finished 29th. Our goal is to be a little bit better than that today. You know, for me, I hadn't had too many laps around here. With a brand new team. I've only raced with them one time, so we're going to do the best we can. It's tough, like you said, to get those opportunities, and you just got to do the best you can and take care of your equipment, and hopefully the phone rings.
And Jeb, just to expound on that a little bit, obviously your uncle had a lot of success with Jeff here. Your father, Ward, a very successful driver as well. Does that put pressure on you to try to get to that level of racing where you are racing against Jimmy Johnson on a weekly basis?
For sure. I mean, my uncle and my dad as well have succeeded in everything they've been in, from late model stocks to the Cup Series. They've won in everything they've been in. I felt like I've done a decent job trying to get to their level. So hopefully I can keep doing what I need to on and off the racetrack and keep working hard, and hopefully I can be in a situation where I can accomplish some of the goals that they've already had.
We think you're doing a great job, Jeb. Thank you so much for joining us. And we think we're going to race today. So get your driver's suit on and get ready to go so that we can get 400 miles in here from Pocono.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for all y'all do.
Thank you, Jeb. So the cars are being pushed out onto pit road. A great sign as the crews are getting back to work, not throwing footballs anymore. They're actually getting cars prepared for, as I mentioned, 400 miles, 160 laps from this 2.5-mile racetrack. Track drying has been very difficult for the simple fact that the sun hasn't been able to peek through the clouds, and there's not a lot of a breeze here. So it's been solely on the jet dryers as well as the air titans to try to get all the precipitation off of the racing surface. But they are definitely ahead on the game as far as getting the racing surface ready, as you see more cars being pushed out onto pit road. 88 driven by Jeff Gordon this weekend once again, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. continuing to suffer from concussion-like symptoms. And let's go back into the garage area and find Dave Burns.
With A.J. Allmendinger, who is obviously ready to go racing and is suited up.
The guys that gets to start up, suit up on Sundays, and you know, if I can go out there and outrun some guys, then I prove that, you know, I belong.